it will bring up the ink to the surface. Kind of the same idea of a Woolly Willy. Hello again. Welcome to Write That Damn Book. I'm your host, Roberto Scarlato. I know that we were going to move ahead to the problem with prologues and epilogues and if you really need them, but I forgot something. I left out 2 writing tools that I do believe will be beneficial when you're writing your first book, or even if you're writing your 3rd or 5th novel. Other than the tools we've already discussed, things like pens, pencils, papers, pads, typewriters, typing devices, laptop, all that other stuff. There are people who need a different kind of tool to help them get the words out, and I want to highlight 2 of them today. Now, there are some people who have a hard time picturing the story that's in their head. They feel the need to act it out. I tried this with one of my books. I was recording it on a little mini digital recorder. If you've ever seen the movie Sleuth, it stars Laurence Olivier and Michael Caine. Laurence Olivier plays this eccentric writer who writes murder mysteries. And he's in his maze speaking into a recorder, and for him, at least, it creates a flow and it lends realism to it. Fred McMurray, in Double Indemnity, he was basically saying the whole story of what had happened to him through a tape recorder. Now, the technology for tape recorders has grown. You know, you could even have like a tape recorder pen where it can activate as soon as it hears you speak, and instantly you can record and stop whenever you want. Now, I do have one tape recorder where it has a speaker, a little microphone at the bottom. So you have simple buttons here: record, play, rewind, fast forward, stop, eject, and pause. So the idea is you would put a cassette tape in here, you'd hold down record and play, and then you would record
your book or act it out into this little thing. And when you stop, you just hit stop. Or if you want to pause and you want to flesh out the idea more, then you can do that. And then you can take the tape out, turn it around, and record on the other side.
Now, some of these cassette tapes have different functions wherein you could get the most bang out of your buck if you put it on a certain level. You could put it on slow play, long play, super long play. Slow play would be about 30 minutes of recording time. Long play would be 60 minutes. And super long play, 90 minutes. You don't have to go out there and find a 1980s tape recorder. We live in a day and age of technology where you can simply record something on your phone. Now, whether your phone comes with a recording app or if you have to download it, it's fairly simple, and I believe you can get some of these apps for free. So you don't need to spend any money. You just have to have your phone at the ready, put it down in whatever place you're comfortable, your writing studio, your writing nook, whatever, and you just record as the scene comes to you. So that's one other tool that you can use. The next tool that I'm going to talk about is a tablet. Yes, people do actually write stories on tablets. There's many tablet products done by Apple, but people find that they have a really hard time writing on something that feels like they're writing on a computer. They say that when they have their little stylus, it feels like they're writing on glass, and unfortunately, no matter how tough that glass may be, the surface will always get scratched in some respect. There were a lot of people saying we love the idea of reading a book on an e-ink screen because there is no eye strain whatsoever. What if we could create a tablet like that? There are some companies that have come up with a solution to this. They thought, well, why not we have a tablet that is for storing documents, like a computer or laptop, but it feels like paper. Now, there is one tablet out there that has been making the rounds for, I think, the past 5 years, and they've improved on their technology over time. I think it's in its 3rd iteration, but it's called the Remarkable, or Remarkable Pro. It's an e-ink screen, which means that every time you touch that stylus to the page, it will bring up the ink to the surface. Kind of the same idea of a Woolly Willy. I don't know if you guys remember that. There'd be this bald guy, and you would just, with a magnet, pull all these little metal shavings or iron shavings to this guy's head, and you could do whatever hairstyle, beard style, mustache, all that good stuff. It's the same concept, albeit a simplified one. But Remarkable came up with this idea of, well, let's make a dedicated pad, and you could get the flow of your writing. It'll feel like actual paper. And they made a Remarkable 2, which is a little bit slimmer, but the dimensions of the screen size are still the same. Now, the Remarkable claims that it can store something to the tune of 1 million pages. Now, that's a big boast. It says that it has like a 10 gigabyte or 20 gigabyte storage capacity. And there was one person who did a deep dive on this on YouTube. I think his name was Goya. And he found out that in order to accomplish 1 million pages of text, you would need to write only 2 sentences on 1 page and then create a new page. So if you only wrote 2 sentences per page, you'd be able to get to 1 million pages of storage. The problem, however, is that the Remarkable is $900. But that's not all. You also have to pay at least $150 for the pen itself. You also have to pay $15 to $20 per tip that you have to replace, because they do get worn down, because it's essentially the same as writing on paper. Sooner or later, the lead is going to run out. So right now, you're already looking at over $1,000 just to write on a tablet that seems like it will be close to paper. Nothing against Remarkable, and it does feel very fluid. The feeling is great, but $1,000, not many people have that in their back pocket. I sure as hell don't. But you can use a similar version of the technology. This is something that I actually got for my wife, and it's called the MobiScribe. Same exact thing as the Remarkable, and yes, it is smaller. The Remarkable, I think, is this tall. Well, this one is little less than that, not half, but like 2/3 the size of it. And as you can see here, not only do you get a dashboard to work with, you can actually put a password on this if you want it to stay safe. You got things like home screen, notes, books. You can actually read books on here. You can highlight books on here, a calendar, tools, and these are just some of the things here. And I'm going to test out some of these features so that you can see what I'm talking about. It's an eInk screen. You can create a new note. You can pick vertical or horizontal. If you're only comfortable writing stories out longhand, and you don't want to do it on paper because you're afraid to lose it, you can use this, and it actually feels like you're writing on paper. So let's just say that we want to start a story. I'm going to make this as thick as possible because this will be the title of the story, and we'll just call it, let's see, off the top of my head, The Scars of Jacob.
That's good.
And then you can go back in here and bring the thickness down, and then you could start writing. So we could write a first line right here. Let's see. What disturbed him the most was that his own brother was the killer.
I'm listening.
You can actually capture this, and you could turn it into text. So it will decipher what it looks like in actual typewritten text. You hit the W, it's starting to recognize it. And let's see if it did a good job. What disturbed him the most was that his own brother was the killer. Aha, yeah. So we can insert it or we can replace it. Let's pick replace. And there you go. I can also capture that. I can make a copy of it. I could move it. So for people who love the tactile feel of writing but don't want to get lost in all the papers and paperwork, you save it on here as either a PDF or a JPEG. And you can either email it to yourself or connect it with a USB cable so that you can connect it straight to your computer and transfer the documents over that way, so that you'll always have basically a clean slate every time that you write. You also have an eraser at the end. Check this out. could press it and erase all this if you didn't like the lines that you wrote. What's even better is that for you night owls out there, you don't have to worry about writing in the dark. This thing has a backlight on it. Look at that. So you can see every word. That is great. They also have a MobiScribe color. I highly recommend this. I got it for about $150 to $160, and I also had a coupon code. So yeah, that's all the information that I have for you today, and I just wanted to let you know you have numerous possibilities in how you would like to write your first novel. The only limit is your imagination. And I'll see you on the next episode of Write That Damn Book. Ciao.